The bell above the door gave its soft, polite chime as Amina Carter stepped into Hearth and Honey Coffee, the kind of cafe that felt like it had been designed by someone who wanted cozy to look expensive. Warm lights hung low in glass pendants. The air smelled like cinnamon, toasted sugar, and espresso that had just been ground. White subway tile climbed behind the counter, spotless and bright, and a handwritten chalkboard menu listed seasonal drinks with names that sounded like poems. Amina loved it here, not because it was perfect, but because it had become part of her rhythm, a place where she could sit for an hour, answer emails, and feel like her week was moving in the right direction. Her laptop bag hung off one shoulder. She wore a simple black coat and jeans, hair pulled back neatly, gold hoops catching the light when she turned her head. She wasn't dressed to impress anyone. She was dressed to exist comfortably in her own life. She approached the register and smiled. "Morning," she said. The barista looked up. White man, mid-20s, pale blonde hair tucked under a beanie. He had that "I'm tired but I'm still going to be cool about it" look that baristas wore like a uniform. His name tag said Noah in clean block letters. Noah didn't smile back. Not fully. Not the way he smiled at the woman in yoga pants in line ahead of Amina, who had just received a bright, friendly, "Have a great day." Noah gave Amina a quick, efficient nod. "What can I get you?" "Large oat milk latte," Amina said, "and a blueberry muffin, please." Noah tapped the screen. "That'll be $9.83. Amina tapped her card. The terminal beeped. A tip prompt appeared. 15%/20%/25%/custom/no tip. Amina hovered for a second. She always tipped when she could. Service work was real work, but her paycheck hadn't stretched as far this month. Rent went up. Her student loan payment hit. And she was trying to save for a deposit on a new apartment closer to her job. She selected custom and entered $2. Not huge, but respectful. The terminal confirmed. The receipt printer coughed out a slip. Noah grabbed it, placed it beside the register, and without looking at her said, "Name?" "Amina." Noah wrote something on a cup with a marker. His handwriting was sharp and quick, like a signature. Amina moved down to the pickup area and waited. The cafe was busy in that quiet suburban way. Mostly white customers, mostly relaxed, mostly treating the place like an extension of their living rooms. A couple of teenagers in private school uniforms leaned over a phone, laughing. A white man with a laptop sat near the window, wearing noise-canceling headphones, sipping a cappuccino like it was a ritual. Two women in puffy vests discussed weekend plans. Amina took a breath and let the warmth settle into her shoulders. She pulled out her phone and opened her calendar. A meeting at noon, a deadline by Friday. A text from her mother she hadn't replied to yet. She was halfway through, typing "I'm good, just busy," when she heard her name called. Amina! A different barista. White woman, early 20s, with a messy bun and a nose ring, set a latte on the counter. Amina stepped forward. "Thanks." She took the cup, felt the heat through the cardboard sleeve, and picked up her muffin bag. She started to turn away. And then a voice snapped behind her. "Hey, excuse me." Amina paused. It was Noah. His tone wasn't friendly. It wasn't casual. It was firm, sharp in a way that made heads turn. Amina looked back. "Yeah?" Noah stepped out from behind the register and walked toward the counter edge, eyes fixed on her hands. "I need you to stop for a second," he said. Amina blinked once. "Okay." Noah's gaze flicked to the tip jar, the clear plastic container by the register with a few bills folded inside and a scatter of coins. A little sign taped to it read, "Tips keep us smiling." Noah's face tightened. "You took money out of the tip jar," he said. For a moment, Amina didn't understand the sentence, like her brain refused to accept it. The cafe's background noise kept going. Steaming milk, grinders buzzing, a customer laughing, while the words hung in the air like smoke. Amina stared at him. What? Noah repeated it, louder now, as if volume could make his assumption true. I saw you. You reached toward the jar. Amina's stomach dropped. She held her latte and muffin like proof of innocence. That didn't matter. I didn't touch your tip jar, she said calmly, though her voice came out tighter than she wanted. Noah's eyes narrowed. You did. You leaned over. Your hand went right there. Amina felt heat rising. Humiliation first, then anger. She hadn't touched it. She hadn't even been near it beyond standing at the pickup counter like everyone else. But the way he was looking at her, like he'd already decided, made the truth feel less powerful than his suspicion. The barista with the nose ring glanced over, eyes widening, then quickly looked away like she didn't want involvement. A customer near the pastries paused mid-bite. Someone's phone stopped scrolling. The cafe's mood shifted. Amina placed her muffin bag down on the counter carefully, because her hands were suddenly trembling, and she refused to let anyone interpret it as guilt. Listen, Amina said slowly, keeping her tone controlled. I did not take your tips. Noah crossed his arms. Then why did you reach toward it? I didn't, Amina said. I picked up my drink. I picked up my muffin. That's it. Noah's jaw flexed, like he didn't like how calm she was. Calm didn't fit the story he'd already written. The nose ring barista stepped closer, hovering behind Noah, unsure. Amina looked at her. Did you see me touch the jar? The barista hesitated. I don't know. I was making drinks. Amina nodded once. She turned back to Noah. If you're accusing me, Amina said, then you should be sure. Noah's eyes flicked toward the tip jar again. The jar is short, he said. It was fuller. Amina stared at him. You're basing this on vibes? Noah's face flushed. No, on what I saw. Amina felt the room tighten. She could sense people choosing a side, not because they knew facts, but because they were comfortable with one story more than the other. A black woman in a nice coat must have stolen cash from the tip jar. That story fit too easily for some people. Amina forced herself to breathe slowly. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You can check the cameras, she said. Noah scoffed. We don't have cameras on the tip jar. Amina's eyes sharpened. Then check the register camera, or the one over the door. There's always a camera. Noah glanced at the ceiling like he was suddenly unsure what existed. Then he snapped back, defensive. It doesn't matter. I saw your hand. Amina felt something cold settle into her chest. This wasn't about a camera. This was about how quickly he'd decided she was the kind of person who would steal. Amina looked around at the customers watching. Some avoided her eyes. One woman's lips were pressed together in a faint, judgmental line. A man near the window leaned forward slightly, interested. Amina hated this part. Not the accusation itself, but the fact that she now had to perform perfection. If she got angry, she would be aggressive. If she cried, she would be dramatic. If she left, she would be guilty. So she stayed steady. Okay, Amina said. Call your manager. Noah's eyebrows rose. What? Call your manager, Amina repeated. If you're accusing me of theft in front of this entire cafe, we're not handling it with your feelings. We're handling it with facts. The word facts landed with weight. Noah hesitated, then turned toward the back area. Mia, he called. A door swung open, and a woman stepped out. White, early 30s, hair pulled into a tight ponytail, clipboard tucked under her arm. She had the posture of someone who lived in policies and schedules. Her apron looked cleaner than it should. She wore an expression that said she didn't like interruptions. What's going on? She asked. Noah spoke quickly, controlling the story before Amina could. That customer took money out of the tip jar. Mia's eyes flicked to Amina, then to Amina's hands, then to the tip jar. Amina felt the weight of those 3 glances like stones. I did not, Amina said clearly. He's accusing me without proof. Mia's mouth tightened. Ma'am, if you took money… Amina cut in gently, firmly. Stop. Don't if me. I'm telling you I didn't. So either you verify it or you apologize and correct it. A murmur shifted through the cafe. Not loud, just the subtle movement of discomfort when someone refused to be politely accused. Mia stared at Amina for a beat, surprised by her directness. Then Mia looked at Noah. Are you sure? Noah nodded too fast. Yes. Amina turned her phone screen toward Mia. I paid. I tipped. I can show you the transaction. What I can't do is prove a negative. So you need to check the money count. Mia's eyebrows lifted. The count? Amina nodded. Your tip jar. Your shift count. Whatever you do when you close or when you reset. You're saying it's short. Then prove it's short. Mia's expression shifted into managerial irritation. We don't recount tips in the middle of the morning. Amina held her gaze. Then don't accuse customers of theft in the middle of the morning. Silence. The espresso machine hissed like it was trying to fill the void. Mia's cheeks flushed slightly. Noah looked at the floor for half a second, then looked back up, stubborn. Mia made a decision. Likely the one that made her day easier, not the one that made it right. Ma'am, Mia said, voice controlled, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Amina's stomach dropped again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was clarity, because that was the move. Remove her, end the conversation, avoid evidence, protect the staff's comfort at the expense of the customer's dignity. Amina looked at Mia. So, your response to a false accusation is to kick out the person being accused. Mia's jaw tightened. I'm trying to keep things calm. Amina nodded slowly. No, you're trying to keep it convenient. Noah spoke again, sharper. Just go. Amina felt her pulse in her throat. She looked at her latte, looked at her muffin, looked at the eyes on her. Then she said, steady and loud enough to be heard without being called a scene. I'm not leaving until you recheck the shift count. Mia's eyes narrowed. We already know it's short. Amina's voice stayed calm. You don't. You suspect it's short. And you decided the nearest black woman was your answer. That landed hard. A white woman in line shifted uncomfortably. The man by the window looked away, suddenly not so entertained. Noah's face reddened. That's not… Amina cut him off. Then prove it isn't. Count the money. Mia stared at her. Amina stared back. For a moment, the whole room felt like it was waiting to see who would blink first. The person with authority or the person with truth. Finally, Mia exhaled sharply through her nose and said, Fine. Noah, bring the jar. Noah's eyes widened. Mia, bring it, Mia repeated, sharper now. Noah grabbed the jar with stiff movements and set it on the counter like it was evidence in court. Coins clinked. A folded bill slid down the side. Mia snapped on a pair of gloves like she was about to perform surgery. She pulled out a small metal tray from under the counter and dumped the contents of the jar onto it. Amina watched every movement. Calm face. Tight chest. Mia looked at Noah. What was it supposed to be? Noah blinked. I don't know exactly, but it was more. Amina's eyes narrowed. So you don't have a number? Noah's face hardened. I know what I saw. Mia ignored Amina's comment and started counting coins with fast fingertips. Quarter, dime, nickel, penny, stacking them into neat piles like the act of counting could restore authority. The nose-ring barista hovered behind them, biting her lip. A minute passed, then another. Finally, Mia stopped. She looked up at Noah. This isn't short, she said quietly. Noah frowned. What? Mia looked at her clipboard, then at the money again. It's not short. Noah stepped closer, voice rising slightly. That's impossible. It was fuller. Mia's expression tightened. Noah, the shift tip count gets reset at 7 o'clock when morning shift starts. The jar got emptied into the drop bag at open. This jar is only today's tips. Noah stared at her, confusion turning into panic. Amina felt a slow burn in her chest. Not triumph. Something heavier. Because that meant Noah had accused her without even understanding how the jar worked. He hadn't even had a baseline. He had seen her hand near the counter and filled in the rest. Mia looked more carefully now, flipping a page on her clipboard. Her eyes moved quickly, and then her expression changed again, this time from irritation to concern. She turned to the nose-ring barista. Did we log the tip drop correctly? The barista hesitated. Yeah, I think so. Mia's voice sharpened. Go get the morning shift count sheet, now. The barista rushed toward the back. Noah looked at Amina, then away, then back again. His eyes didn't hold apology. They held something like fear. Fear that the story wasn't going to stay in his control. Amina's voice stayed steady. So, she said softly, you don't know it was short. You just decided it was me. Noah opened his mouth, closed it, then said, I saw you reach. Amina's eyes stayed locked on his. I reached for my muffin bag. Noah's face tightened, desperate. Your hand went toward the jar. Amina nodded slightly. And your brain finished the sentence you wanted. Mia flinched at that, like she wanted to shut down the moral part of the conversation and keep it mechanical. But it was too late. The barista returned with a clipboard sheet, paper slightly crumpled, numbers written in pen. Mia snatched it and scanned it quickly. Then she went still. Noah's voice was small now. What? Mia's lips pressed into a line. She pointed at a number on the sheet. The morning shift count was recorded wrong, Mia said. Noah blinked. How? Mia tapped the paper. Someone wrote the tip drop amount with the wrong line. And it looks like… She paused, eyes flicking to the jar. It created the impression that the jar was missing money when it wasn't. Amina stared at her. So there was no missing money at all, Amina said. Mia's shoulders tightened. Correct? Noah's face went pale. The cafe felt different now. Not loud, but rearranged. The air had shifted from suspicion toward Amina to discomfort toward the staff. Mia took a breath, then forced her voice into professional smoothness. Ma'am, I apologize for the misunderstanding. Amina didn't move. A misunderstanding is when two people hear different words, she said calmly. This was an accusation. Mia's eyes narrowed slightly. I'm trying to make it right. Amina nodded once, very small. Then make it right. Mia looked at Noah. Her voice sharpened, low. Noah, apologize. Noah swallowed. He looked at Amina like he didn't know how to speak to a person he'd just tried to label. He started. Amina waited. Noah cleared his throat. I'm sorry, he said quickly, like he wanted the words out of his mouth without feeling them. I thought I saw… Amina's tone stayed calm. You thought, and you said it out loud, in front of everyone. Noah's eyes flicked to the customers who were still watching. His ears reddened. Amina continued, steady. Do you understand what you did? Noah hesitated. Yeah. Amina didn't let him escape with that. No, she said. Say it. Noah's jaw clenched. I accused you of stealing. Amina nodded once. And you were wrong. Noah's voice tightened. And I was wrong. The room held its breath. Mia looked uncomfortable, like she wanted to move on to the next customer and pretend the moment hadn't happened. But Amina didn't allow the world to reset without consequence. Amina looked at Mia. I want two things. Mia's eyebrows lifted. Okay. First, Amina said, I want you to correct the shift count process so this doesn't happen again. Mia nodded stiffly. We'll review it. Amina's eyes sharpened. No, you'll correct it. Today. Mia paused. Yes, today. Amina nodded. Second, she continued, I want you to understand that the next person you accuse might not have the energy to stand here for 30 minutes and insist you check your paperwork. Mia didn't respond immediately. Amina held her gaze. Finally, Mia said, quieter. I understand. Amina exhaled slowly. Her hands were steady now, but her chest still felt tight from adrenaline and the emotional whiplash of being treated like a suspect in the place she came to feel calm. Mia slid a small card across the counter. Here, she said, your latte and muffin are on us today. Amina looked at the card, then back at Mia. I didn't ask for free coffee, Amina said. Mia's face tightened. It's the least we can do. Amina nodded slowly. Keep it. I paid. Refund my payment and donate the amount to your staff tip pool instead. Mia blinked, startled. We can… Amina's voice stayed firm. Do it! Mia looked at Noah. Noah looked away. Mia tapped on the register, printed something, and slid a refund receipt across the counter. Amina took it. Thank you. Then Amina turned to the cafe, not theatrical, not shouting, just speaking with clarity. I hope none of you ever have to stand in a room, she said, while strangers decide what kind of person you are. A few people looked down. A few looked ashamed. One older white woman opened her mouth as if to say something, then didn't. Amina picked up her muffin bag and her latte and walked toward the door. The bell chimed again, sweet and polite, like it hadn't just witnessed a moment of ugliness. Outside, the air was colder. The street noise felt louder. Amina stood on the sidewalk and let herself breathe. Her hands shook now that she was alone. Not because she doubted herself, because she was tired. Tired of needing evidence for her own character. Tired of calm being the price of dignity. She walked to her car, set the latte in the cup holder, and sat with both hands on the steering wheel for a long moment, staring straight ahead. Then her phone buzzed. A text from her friend Jules. Coffee later? I found a place with real pastries. Amina smiled for the first time all morning. She typed back, yes, somewhere that doesn't put me on trial for existing. She started the car and drove away, not defeated, just more certain. Because today, she hadn't let the accusation stick. She hadn't swallowed it to keep someone else comfortable. She had demanded the count be rechecked, demanded the truth be seen, and she'd proven something that mattered far more than a tip jar. Sometimes the fight isn't about money at all. Sometimes it's about refusing to carry shame that was never yours.